it was one of the most memorable days in NBA regular season history. Dwayne Wade and Dirk dropped 30 points in their final games. Jamal Crawford poured in an incredible 51 points at 39 years of age. And then Magic Johnson turned on Showtime one last time to steal all of their thunder. The now ex-Laker president gave a 1-hour press interview which seemed more like something out of Black Mirror than a press conference for a resignation. Not soon after this decision, the Lakers and Luke Walton parted ways, and the only top-level staff member remaining was Rob Pelinka, and who knows how long he will last for. The Los Angeles Lakers have sort of slipped and fallen onto a reset button, with only one player desperately clinging to his save file. But this video isn't here to talk about what the Lakers should do with their executives or their coach. Instead, I want to focus on the players and what I personally would do to help rebuild the Lakers. No, this isn't a job audition, although Jeanie, if you're listening, just leave a comment if you want to get in touch. Before we dive into the Lakers cap and personnel situation, I did want to say just one thing on their executive hunt. It is incredibly important that they get this right. LeBron has 3 years left on his deal, and in reality, in his prime. The Lakers are in a good position, but a difficult one. The right moves and people could see them soaring for the next decade. The wrong ones could see the franchise floundering to even get into the playoffs. For this reason, the Lakers have to look outside of their franchise and go out and try and lure some of the top NBA executives. Guys like Bob Myers, Sam Presti, Masai Ujiri, and Daryl Morey all spring to mind as executives who have proven that they can put together a team in any situation and might be lured by a fat paycheck and one of the most alluring jobs in the NBA. And then, for the love of God, let that executive lead the coaching search. Executive first, coach second. Please. Okay, now that that's over, let's dive into what I think should be done with the actual team. You know, the basketball that we watched that this never-ending soap opera exists upon. The Lakers have a pretty good cap situation this summer. They set themselves up last year by only signing one-year deals outside of LeBron and preserved the max free agent slot that the franchise will pin their hopes on. They are still haunted by the 2016 free agency period as Luol Deng takes up $5 million in dead cap space for the next 3 years. And while this isn't a ton, great bench and role players can be found for $5 million, and the impact of this can't be understated. But the Lakers still look set to have a fair chunk of cap space, taking into account their minimum roster cap holds, their draft cap hold, and presuming they waive their rights to all their free agents. The Lakers will have about $72 million in committed salary and cap holds, and $37 million in cap space. It would also give them enough to keep JaVale McGee's rights and sign a max free agent outside of Kevin Durant before filling out their roster. This all changes if they jump up in the draft. But in that situation, the front office would figure out how to open up space instead of complaining about getting a much better player in the draft. Taking a look at who occupies this cap space, we see that the Lakers have LeBron for $37 million next year and $80 million over the next 2 years, Lonzo Ball for $8.7 million next year and $11 million the year after, Brandon Ingram for $7.2 million next year, Moritz Wagner for 3 years $8 million, Isaac Bonga for $2 million next year, and Josh Hart and Kyle Kuzma are both on $2 million next year and $3.5 million the year after that. This is a list of young talented players who have very team-friendly deals outside of LeBron James. It is honestly one of the rosters with the weirdest composition that I've ever seen in NBA history. It is very rare to see one of the best players in the league on a team with guys solely on rookie deals, even in the off-season. But this is a good thing. It gives them the flexibility to do multiple things this summer. But which one they pick is the big question on everyone's mind. In my mind, and probably most people's minds, there are 3 big options for the Lakers this summer. Trade for Anthony Davis, swing the fences for a max free agent, or try and put solid pieces around the young core and LeBron. There are definitely other options available to the Lakers. They could look to trade for other players, but moving your young guys for mid-level stars isn't ideal. If a guy like Bradley Beal is available for the right price, I think the Lakers would consider it. But is that going to move the needle past the Warriors? I doubt it. And for that reason, I think the Lakers whiteboard will have those 3 previously mentioned options on it. But the NBA offseason isn't a game where you can rank your options and then go through them one by one until one of them pans out. There are 29 other teams who are all trying to improve, and you can bet that a lot of them will be in the hunt for Davis and the top free agents this offseason. The Lakers will need to work out how likely each option is before diving into the frenzy that is free agency post the July 1st moratorium being lifted. They are benefited by the fact that they can trade for Anthony Davis before free agency begins. And I imagine that the Pelicans and every team in the league will want this one out of the way well before free agency and maybe even the draft. And that brings us to the Anthony Davis Lakers trade, something that has been called for, signalled for, dreamed about for almost 2 years. It almost happened midway through this season, but instead it blew up team chemistry, destroyed relations between the Lakers and the Pelicans, ruined both their seasons, and ultimately cost a coach, a GM, and probably Magic and Pelinka their jobs. But now the Lakers will have a new general manager, and the Pelicans just hired David Griffin as theirs. The offseason will present the possibility of the trade being back on the table, and the Lakers do have at least one of the best trade chests available for the Pelicans, with Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, and their pick in this year's draft all being valuable assets. But we saw this season how little the Pelicans seemed to value those assets, as they demanded all of them and future draft picks as well to have access to their two-way star. There is no doubt the Lakers will explore this option. Davis is too good of a player to get worried about overpaying for, but LA will want to walk away from the table with one of Kuzma, Ingram, or Ball. Giving up all three and their picks would be a huge price to pay and would leave the Lakers with very little on that roster. But hypothetically, if the Lakers did trade Ingram and Ball plus that pick for Davis, it would leave them with around $30 million in cap space. There would be a trade or two away from another max free agent spot, or they could go out and sign 3 or 4 solid wings who could defend and shoot to fit that roster out. And this is why this move is so appealing. It isn't just LeBron, AD and nothing, it's LeBron, Davis and a whole heap of cap space to boot. But it doesn't come without risk. Anthony Davis only has 1 year left on his contract before he can opt out of the deal and enter unrestricted free agency. The Lakers will have to have long conversations with Davis about his intentions in free agency, because if they trade for him and he leaves, it's basically all over. They would be left with LeBron and very little assets, once again relying on free agency to capitalise on the last 2 years of LeBron. Without being privy to the conversations, it is impossible to know. But if Davis does verbally commit to re-signing, you pull the trigger. If he doesn't, it's such an enormous risk that there may be better options. The relatively risk-free option is entering the summer with free agency at the core of the Lakers' mind. If the Lakers can't get Davis or the price is simply too high, they can turn their attention to the plethora of top-tier talent available in free agency this summer. The Lakers have clearly preserved a max free agent slot for a reason, and we'll be looking at guys like Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, Kemba Walker, Kawhi Leonard, Tobias Harris, and Jimmy Butler. I'm sure that the Lakers would love to have a crack at Kevin Durant, but I simply don't think that this is realistic. Durant has been compared to LeBron his entire career, and teaming up with him does not seem like something that he would be interested in doing. Plus, the rumours that Durant is heading to the Knicks, Clippers or Nets, or staying with the Warriors, seem very strong and make sense. So I think the Lakers will be targeting the next group of 6 free agents. Of these players, I have them in a few tiers. The first is Kawhi Leonard in a tier of his own. Kawhi is an absolutely amazing player on both ends of the court and has shown in Toronto that he is past the injuries and is once again one of the most dominant forces in the NBA. But Kawhi hasn't shown that much interest in the Lakers, and the rumours have him splitting his choice between the Clippers and the Raptors. Below this is Kyrie Irving, a player who had already played with LeBron and is rumoured to be teaming up with KD on the Knicks or staying in Boston. But Kyrie has proven he can run a team and is one of the best offensive players in the NBA. If he was open to joining the Lakers, he would be a fantastic option for them. But considering that Irving has requested a trade off of a LeBron team before, I wouldn't bet on it. The last player of my top tier max free agents is happy-go-lucky Klay Thompson. Klay is one of the best players at the 2 guard and is the prototypical player next to LeBron. He doesn't need the ball in his hands, is lights out from the 3, and is one of the best defenders at the wing spot. but Klay appears happy being Golden State Warriors royalty. He thrives in their system, wins rings, and I just can't see him leaving that legacy. So that leaves the Lakers without a great shot at the top tier free agents, and instead leaves them with Kemba Walker, Jimmy Butler, and Tobias Harris. All of these players are great players, but do you really want to pay them $33 million for the next 4 years? And this doesn't even take into account the fact that they also may not want to join LeBron, the Lakers, and their current disaster of a front office and coaching situation. Of all of them, the one that I would want the most is Tobias Harris. Harris has evolved into the prototypical power forward in the modern NBA and could be a great foil to LeBron James. Plus, he is only 26 years old compared to Kemba being 28 and Jimmy Butler being 29. This means that you're guaranteed 4 years of his prime, and it's very unlikely that he will drop off in year 3 or 4 of his deal. With Butler, I worry that the minutes will catch up to him, that he needs the ball himself, isn't that great a fit next to LeBron, and that he'll be incredibly overpaid in the last 2 years of his max. And with Kemba Walker, I fear that he just isn't a great fit next to LeBron. James has proven time and time again that no matter what team you put around him, they will play the LeBron way. Will LeBron give Kemba the ball enough to justify paying Walker $33 million? I doubt it. The max free agency path is evidently tough for the Lakers. The guys who fit really well probably don't want to come there, and the others are probably going to be slightly overpaid, and definitely not enough to put them over the top of the Warriors. This leaves us with one last option. Focus on building around the young core and LeBron properly. At times during the regular season, all of Lonzo Ball, LeBron, Ingram, and Kuzma played together, and at times they were very effective. There were clear teething problems, but this will occur with any group of new players, especially young ones. With a full offseason together, and if you get them all healthy, there could be a serious team there. Plus, the Lakers have the cap space this season to go out and sign good free agents. JaVale McGee really showed his growth as a player, and if they could bring him back on the cheap, it would be great. The Lakers could also look to sign Alex Caruso as their full-time backup point guard to Lonzo Ball, as he has looked great to close the season. Plus, they'll have a top 10 pick and could easily get a guy that slips or some kind of shooting wing there as well. The next step would be signing good free agents on team-friendly deals. Robin Lopez, Jonas Jerebko, Thaddeus Young, Bojan Bogdanovic, Brook Lopez, Nikola Mirotic, Anthony Tolliver, Seth Curry, Rudy Gay, and Danny Green are all guys who could contribute at a high level, but not cost the Lakers too much. These guys would be smart signings as role players who could provide defense, rebounding, and shooting, and fill the holes that the team sorely needed filling when they attempted to fill them with Michael Beasley and Lance Stevenson this year. Outside of the Lakers managing to get Anthony Davis in a trade, I think this is the realistic option. It would allow the Lakers to regroup and re-establish themselves as a competent franchise, make the playoffs, and even push for contention if they have enough shooting and defense to surround LeBron and their youth with. The lure of Jimmy Butler and Kemba Walker might be too much to resist, or they could clear the cabinet for AD and then have him leave. The possibilities are endless. For Lakers fans, just hope Jeanie hires the best GM to steer the ship, because otherwise the second Titanic could be on the horizon and no one even knows about it. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for an NBA video every Saturday. And let me know in the comments below what you think of the Los Angeles Lakers future.